welcome you all to this fabulous afternoon with the EXP South Asian Network. And I'm Smita Singh. I'm a real estate entrepreneur with EXP Realty. I moved to the United States when I was 17, worked in corporate America, and had businesses for the past 12 years. I got into real estate about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And I am a top producer here in Houston. I'm also a national speaker. I've spoken at Inman and EXP. And I believe that women should really step it up and not play small. So I also coach women in real estate. But enough about me today because I'm here to welcome to you a very special guest. I have with me today Kunal Seth. Hi, Kunal.
Smita, thanks for having me. Excited to be on this show today.
Absolutely. So, just a little bit about Kunal. Really, I mean, he is a force to reckon with. Kunal moved to the United States to live the American dream. He went to graduate, he did his graduation, worked in corporate America, and then finally decided to take the leap to real estate. In 2014, he started a team called the Seth Brothers team. And since then, consistently, they have been doing $100 million in sales every year and over 300 transactions year over year. And to date, they have done $500 million in real estate sales. That is fantastic, now.
Thank you, Smita. Yes, the journey has been exciting, but I'm just getting started.
Yes, and I really want to focus on a few things because what helps you stand out is your first generation mindset, and we're gonna dig deeper into it. But I want to start off with a little bit of your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us who is Kunal Seth.
Happy to share that, Smita. So I was born in India, and I moved to US when I was 21 years old. Came here to go to grad school to do my master's in MIS, Information Systems. And coming to America was a big blessing. Anyone who's not born and raised in America and they come from other countries, other continents, coming to America is a privilege. And I was privileged when I was approved with my visa status on student visa to come over here. But coming to America, I had a vision, Smita, that I came to this country and I was going to do whatever it takes to be financially independent. So I came when I was 19, 20 years old, and I'm blessed that when I came, my parents gave me the financial freedom, gave me the tuition fee to pay for my first year of college. And while that was a blessing, I said, thank you, parents. I'll take that as my backup plan. But the day I landed Smita, every day when I came on campus, I went door knocking to every professor's door on campus to get a job. Because as an international student, if you get a job, then you get certain tuition waivers, you get certain financial benefits, and I wanted to get that. And thankfully, I got that. So 2 years in college, got my graduate degree. The day I graduated, the first thing I did was return every penny my parents had given me back to my parents. But while being in college, let alone eating out, I would not even go to McDonald's or Burger King, never ate out, saved all the money because I had this fear or concern that what if tomorrow, next semester, I don't have an assistantship, I don't have a job, I don't want to go back to my parents. So the first generation mindset is all about taking nothing for granted, waking up every day thinking this could be a last day of opportunity. And that's the mindset I had when I first came to this country of doing whatever it takes to be successful.
Fantastic. So to me, there are a few things that really stand out, right? One is you said when you came into the US, you had a vision. You wanted to be financially independent. So that's important. But tell me a little bit more about discipline because having the means, having the financial support, and yet you decided that, you know what, I'm not going to take that financial support that my parents have given me. So tell me a little bit about your mindset as you're going through this in terms of your self-discipline, because it's not very easy.
Absolutely, Smita. So most people are forced into having financial discipline when they don't have money. They don't have a choice but to cut back expenses and and trim the expenses. But it's the people who have the financial success, who have the money, but had the discipline to not spend the money. And as a 19, 20-year-old, I had almost $18,000 sitting in the bank. And I went to LSU. LSU is ranked one of the top party campuses in America. So while my friends were going out, partying, eating out, doing all those things, I was disciplined because I had the fear that things can be taken away from me tomorrow. I came to this country. My primary objective was get my graduate degree and get a job. So those of you who are born in America, you don't understand the benefits of having a U.S. passport, U.S. citizenship. As an international person who came to this country, you come on a student visa, like how I did. Next, you got to get a work permit, then your green card, and then your citizenship. But as a student, if I do not get a company to give me a job or sponsor a work permit, I would get shipped back to my home country. So I was against the wall from day one. And I said, if I made all the way over here, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful. So the money I don't want to touch. And that's what I returned when I finished my graduate degree in 2 years.
Wonderful. I wanted to repeat that again, what you said about having the discipline when you have the means. So repeat that again for us.
So financial discipline is not about when you cut back expenses when you do not have money, but financial discipline is about you being cautious about or not splurging when you have money, holding back your money for the rainy day. That's what
I think
that's what the true definition of financial discipline is.
And I think that's so important, right? Because that also goes for real estate agents. Because when there's so many, when they're closing all these deals, they go ahead and they splurge and they're like, okay, this is what we're doing. But when the going gets tough, they're like, what do I do? I don't have the money to maybe pay my mortgage or all of that stuff. So I think that's a very important aspect that goes through your whole life that you need to be able to take with you.
Correct. You'd see if you follow realtors on social media, middle of the year, second, third quarter, they're buying expensive things, going on vacations, buying expensive cars. And at year end, when the taxes are due, they're broke because all throughout the year, they have not had the financial discipline of putting money away for the taxes, for all the expenses. So financial discipline is a foundation of anyone being successful today.
Awesome. So let's dig into this first generation mindset. I'm super curious. I'm going to get some slides going. And while the slides are going, so tell me a little bit more. So tell me about this first generation mindset. What is it? What is this first generation mindset?
Happy to share, Smith.
Who is the first generation, first of all?
The first generation mindset applies to anyone, everyone. It's not just for someone who's first one to coming to America. It could be you if you're the first one in your family to go to college, first one in your family to live in a big town, first one to get a job, first one to be a single mom, or first one to be an entrepreneur. What really happens, Smita, is when you go down in generations, second, third, fourth, you take things for granted. You get complacent, you get lazy, and you take things for granted. Whereas first generation mindset is all about staying in tune with how your mindset was on day one. So it applies to me really well because, whether you were born in America, but someone in your family came to America at some point of time, whether it's a great grandfather, great grandmother, somebody came, they came with a whole lot of nothing, but they came with one thing, the drive and the hunger and the vision to not give up, to be successful.
And a dream.
That's what first generation mindset is all about, that whatever you do, don't get complacent, keep striving for excellence every day and get better on a daily basis.
So I like that. I like that first generation mindset. I think it's for all of us to understand that it's not just for people that have moved to America. This is a mindset that you believe in, you follow, and you're sharing with all of us that this is for anybody and everybody, no matter where you are in life. And let's talk a little bit more about it. So we've established that this is for anybody and everybody. Now, tell me a little bit more. So how did you come about this mindset? Is this something that's been in you since you were born, or is this something that you've developed? Tell us a little bit more.
So the framework or the terminology of first generation mindset is it's an early phase, probably about 12 months back I came up with that. But the philosophy or the strategies that are behind this, behind first generation mindset, I've used them ever since I came to this country. So first generation mindset has 3-step process: vision, value, and then ask. Stephanie, can you go to the next slide? Okay. So step one is vision, then comes value, and then comes the ask. Most people lead their life by asking on a daily basis. As realtors, we ask for a sale, ask for a referral, ask for a client to work with us. We lead by ask. I believe most people are also goal driven. And when you're goal driven, whether your goal is to make so much money, sell so many homes, do so many transactions, once you reach your goal, you get complacent. You lose the drive, you lose the hunger. Great example is, the most medal Olympian, Michael Phelps, when he was at a peak of his career and he retired, guess what happened? He went into depression where he had nothing more to look forward to. So when you are goal driven, you're not going to last too long. You got to be vision driven. So that's step one. You have to be clear about your vision in life. And the vision is something, it's so far out that you will never, ever reach the finish line. It just keeps getting pushed far and far out. The second step is value. Now, value that you bring to your customers, to your clients, to the market. Value that they want from you. So if you are a realtor and you're adding value to the industry, to the market, to your customers, and finally you say, would you want to consider working with me as your realtor, or would you want to buy a home? Then comes the ask. So it's vision, value, and then ask. So when I came to this country, I had minimal value. I had no value. I was 19, 20-year old. I do not have a college degree. I do not have a graduate degree. I do not have a job. So what I had to do was I had to elevate my value so that when I interview for a job, my profile is well received and I get a job. Why do I need a job? To get my work permit, to get my work status. So I had to elevate my value. I took a bunch of classes, took some certification exams. So in my previous life, I used to be an auditor. And I'm a certified internal auditor at CIA, CISA, certified information systems auditor. So in the whole class, I was the only one that interviewed that had all these certifications during college, and that helped me get through the top consulting company, Deloitte. So what I'm explaining over to Smita is when you lead by adding value to your customer and clients, whatever you ask maybe in the background will get fulfilled in the long term.
I love that. So there's a few things that I wanted to talk about. I think the main difference that I've heard is that you need to be vision driven and not goal driven. Um, not be more long term versus more short term, right? So this also reminds me, and I think it puts into perspective, is I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs out there have read the book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And he only talks about value, 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 and then you ask for your sale. But I think this puts it in a very different perspective, right? Because we keep adding value, but if we don't know where we're going, then there is an end somewhere that shows up. But where you're saying is that have the vision, and it's something that is way out there because you're going to keep striving to get to that point. And while you're doing that, you keep adding value to the market, to yourself, so that you can elevate yourself. So let's talk a little bit more about the vision part of it before we go into the value. So tell us about yourself as you got into real estate, and you got into real estate in 2014, right? What was your vision, and is vision something that changes as you progress in life, and how does that kind of work into the framework of your vision value ask?
So first, to answer your question, Smita, your vision does not necessarily change, but your path or steps or goal that you align yourself at a present time could change, or you could pivot, but your overall vision almost always stays the same. So when I was new in the business 2014, I'm based out of Houston, Texas. We have 40 to 50,000 realtors in Houston. I want to create a niche for myself. So in my business, I partnered with my brother-in-law. Just a coincidence. He's my sister's husband. His last name is also Seth, Seth.
Very convenient.
Yes. So when we made the team in 2014, we called ourselves the Seth Brothers team instead of Seth Brother-in-laws. Our inspiration was a show on HGTV, which you may have watched, Smith. It's called Property Brothers. Mm-hmm. That was the inspiration. So when we made the team in 2014, brand new realtors, I case studied and evaluated all the top realtors and brokers in the Houston market. and they all had one thing in common. They all had preferred status with builders and developers. What that meant was if a buyer goes into a sales office, says, I want to buy a home, I have a home to sell, and I'm not working with a realtor, they will say, call one of our preferred realtors. I want a piece of that action. That was my ask. Now, as a brand new realtor, if I'd gone to these builders, hey, Taylor Morrison Home, Newmark Home, Meritage Home, make Seth Brothers seem a preferred partner, they'll say, who the hell are you? Have a nice day, because there are 50,000 of you in Houston. So instead of asking up front, I let my ask be known, but I had to lead by adding value to them. So what I also evaluated what these top brokers were not doing well. And I went double down with that. So when I would sell a new construction home, I would go with the buyers to the design studio, attend the pre-construction meeting, attend the pre-drywall meeting, hold their hand throughout the process. When I would meet with the buyer, I knew all the floor plans in my neighborhood or in the community that I was servicing. I would do a lot of open houses. When these buyers would come in, I would influence them to buy a new home instead of buying a resale home. If they would say, I'm looking for a home with this specific layout, let's just say they wanted 2 primary suites or a home which had 2 kitchens or a spice kitchen or catering kitchen, I would say, well, that's the builder, that's the floor plan, that's the section we got to go by. So when I was adding my knowledge-based expertise, in time, me and my team sold a lot of these homes. When we sold a lot of these homes, these builders took a note of the Seth Brothers team and said, oh, wow, these guys are not just selling homes, but they're also aware of a product line and they become advocates for us. So within 12 to 14 months, multiple builders, Taylor Morrison Home, Darling Home, approved us to be preferred realtor partners in the Houston market. And when I tell you this, every year I earn hundreds of $1,000s in referral business from these builders. I'm not kidding you, because they trust us, we trust them, and the business built around them. So even as a brand new realtor, when I had no business in the Houston market, I led by adding value to the industry, to the market, and return, me being preferred got fulfilled. Second example I can give you, Smita, is based on my ethnic background. I'm originally from India. I understand the Indian culture really, really well. I've spent half my life there, and now I'm half my life in America. Now coming to Houston has a lot of South Asian population. And most people, realtors and salespeople, did not like working with them or still do not like working with them because they did not understand the culture really well. So in 2014, I developed a training program called How to Decode and Win Indian Buyers. And I started training these builders. When I would go train them, I would take my team. I would go and train 100, 200, 500 people. So when I was training these builder salespeople, helping them navigate through the process of working with international buyers from India, that would result in them selling more homes to these Indian buyers, which would in result help them make more money. So I was adding value to them. In my early years, I applied a bottom-up approach instead of top-down. What I mean by that is I first helped the actual salesperson sitting in the sales office to understand the international buyers, sell their homes, and help them get more financial success. As I was doing that, the word got out. Then managers found out, then senior manager, then the VP of sale. And that's when they reached out to me within the 12 to 14 months. Hey, Seth Brothers, why don't you become preferred? So while I had not had the framework 9, 10 years back of vision, value, ask, but I was driven by vision when I came to this country. I've always led my success by adding value to other people. And finally, my ask gets fulfilled.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. But I'm going to take a step back really quick because I feel like this is the most important step of this framework. And this is the thing that people struggle with a lot, right? If you don't have clarity of your vision, you are not adding value, which is intentional or relatable to the vision that you're going towards. So let's step back a little bit from value, but let's go into vision again. How do you help people, real estate agents, get clarity about their vision? What should maybe real estate agents, entrepreneurs, whoever is listening to this, how would they get clarity about the vision so that eventually they can figure out what value they can provide?
Most realtors in a profession are accidental realtors. They failed somewhere, they think the bar is too low, let me get my license, let me become a realtor. So when I engage with someone, Smith, when I'm helping them get clarity of their vision in life or potentially the goals, I ask a lot of questions, which is why. And that happens to be my DNA because for 10 years in corporate America with Deloitte and with the oil and gas company, I used to be an auditor. So when I meet someone, if they're a realtor, I first ask the question, why did you get the license? Why did you get in the business? Why are you doing certain things today? So I ask a lot of questions to determine where they're at. A lot of times these realtors are in the business because they have a financial need to get success, to provide for their family. But they claim and they say, oh, I love helping people put a put a roof over their head. And that's why I'm in the business. And I asked them, okay, if that's the case, in Houston market, we have Houston Housing Authority. I said, if that's the case, why don't you go work for Houston Housing Authority and say, oh, they don't pay me enough. Okay. So then your driver is not necessarily to help people, but to be more financially successful, financially independent. So asking questions to people, whether realtors, entrepreneurs, I figure out the true reason as to what they're doing today. And once I understand that, then I push them and challenge them and say what they should be doing to leave a legacy behind. Whether you like it or you don't like it, whether you're aware or not aware, each one of us on a daily basis is working towards leaving a legacy behind. Some of our legacies will be forgotten within 24 hours of our leaving this earth. And some of our legacies will be remembered for years, decades, or lifetime. Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, just a few names. They were legends. They left a legacy behind. They'll be remembered for a long, long time. Same thing with Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was vision driven, not goal driven. So what I'm trying to highlight, Smita, is you got to have goals in life. Nothing wrong with that. Financial goals, you want to drive the nicest car, live in some certain kind of a home. But if you don't have clarity of your vision, why do you do certain things? Why you're here? Why in that profession? You'd always be chasing something. And when you chase something and you accomplish that, and once you're done and there's nothing more to do, guess what happens? You go into depression. You lose the drive in you. So getting clarity of vision is critical, and I certainly have the expertise in doing that. But sit down with someone who won't just say, yes, great job, you're doing a great job being a realtor, or great job being an entrepreneur. Sit down with someone who can challenge you, question you, and make you understand the whys of your life as to why you got into business, why you wake up every morning. The driver could be maybe you're a single mom, you have young kids to provide for. Maybe you have parents that you could provide for the healthcare. There's always a why. The vision is what drives people on a daily basis.
Love it, love it. So, to recap a little bit here, I think it's important for all of us to understand that, I mean, first generation mindset is number one for anybody and everybody. And also have clarity about your vision. So, the three-step process of the first generation mindset is number one, to have clarity about your vision. Number two is to have that or to provide as much value as you can, and eventually make the ask. What I really like about your vision, what you shared with me, Kunal, with us, is that once you have clarity, which I believe is that as soon as you have clarity about your vision, I think a lot of that intrinsic motivation starts working, right? Because then there's nobody that's telling you to do something, but it's actually coming from within you. And when you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, I know what to do.
Absolutely. Great example I can give you over here. Our founder of EXP, Glenn, you know, when he first started the company, his ask was realtors to join EXP. Of course, he wanted people to leave the other broker and come join. But if he had gone door knocking to every brokerage or every agent or every team lead in the US market, hey, come join EXP, come join EXP, it would have been much more challenging. What he did first was he had a vision to make our company the most powerful company on the planet Earth. That's his vision. But he had to lead by adding value to the industry. Where he said he value stack. You guys are tired of paying big fees? All right, low cost brokerage, here we come. You don't need a brick and mortar, low cost of operating, let's make it virtual. You need health insurance, I'm going to provide that to you. So when he's value stacking our brokerage, what he's doing is leading the initiative in the industry to disrupt it. And eventually, his ask is getting fulfilled. When we were 2,000 to 5,000 to 20,000, today we're almost 90,000 realtors within EXP in 20 plus countries. Nobody would have thought 10, 15 years back EXP would be where we're at today. The only reason where we are today is because Glenn leads by adding value to his customers, which is us realtors, to the customers, the buyers and sellers, and to the industry. So no matter which company you pick up Tesla, Elon Musk, everyone is vision driven and they add value to the industry, add value to the market. And then comes the ask, go buy my Tesla car or come join EXP for that matter.
It's interesting. I think to a lot of us, this may seem simple, right? Because it seems like a simple 3-step process. Yes, we all know, have the vision, have the value and ask. But the way you've succinctly put it together, I think is very powerful because we may think we know it, but unless we actually work through the process of it by having the vision and kind of figuring out the value, I think it's super powerful. So yeah, let's dive deeper into the value. So you said value stacking. Tell me more about it. Talk to me more about it. Tell me, for a real estate agent, how is that important, and what do you propose to them to kind of be aware of when they're talking about value?
Absolutely, Smita. So as realtors, we always ask for a referral. We ask for the sale at a listing appointment or at open house, a networking event. But most realtors do not lead by adding value. How do you add value? Be the expert in your market. Be the expert of your school zoning, of your tax rates and everything else. And on an ongoing basis, demonstrate to the market that you're the subject matter expert. And you do that not just by selling homes. Each market has different boards. In Houston, we have Houston Association of Realtors. Then there is NAR, TAR, different organizations. Being part of these organizations allows you to get not only access to good information, but add value back to the market. So realtors, while they chase deals and chase transactions, they don't intentionally put themselves out there to help others be more successful. That's why I travel nationwide. The last 9 years, I've trained 10,000 more people on how to decode and win Indian buyers, right? And why do I do that? Because I'm adding value to the industry. In time, the returns will come to me. So what just popped up over here is actually the cover of my book. I'm actually in the process of writing my first book, which is called The First Generation Mindset, which is what I've been talking about. And what you see over here is it's almost like the look of a passport cover. And it has different milestones of my life coming to America, leaving corporate America, leaving Deloitte, leaving Transocean, starting my coaching program, becoming a realtor. So those are the milestones. But again, and through this book, I go in depth about vision, value, ask. What do you got to do on a daily basis to be clear about what you're doing today to add value? Because if you lead by adding value on a daily basis, what do you ask maybe? Whether it's getting a client to buy a home, sell a home, or transaction, it will come to you.
This is exciting, Kunal. You're writing a book on the first generation mindset. I'm excited to read it. And for all of y'all that are watching, if y'all want to can they order it? Maybe they can email you.
So hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll have all those things lined up, Smitha. But I'm hopefully being done with the book in the next 30 days or so.
Wonderful. Well, make sure that you follow him on Workspace, wherever, so that you know when this is coming out, so you can order your copy. I'm excited to order mine. And we're actually live, and I do have live questions coming in. So are you ready to answer some questions?
Bring them.
All right. So we have a question from Jay, and he's asking, Kunal, what is an example of a vision you would suggest to a potential client before asking them to retain them as an agent?
So let me kind of give my foundational steps I use on a regular basis when I'm prospecting potential clients. The biggest mistake realtors make is to talk about what they do and not why they do. So at a networking event, at a social event, at an open house, they would walk up to people and say, listen, I'm a realtor. I can get you the best deal. Hire me as a realtor. That's how most realtors lead the discussion. When I'm talking to someone, I talk about my belief system, which will answer Jay's question. I talk on belief system. I believe
So,
long term.
so Kunal, I'm going to stop you for a second because I'm going to do a role play with you. Are you ready?
Why not? Let's bring it.
Okay, so Kunal, what do you do?
So I do not know who you are. We just met for the first time.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a potential client.
Okay, you could be a potential client. And your question is, what do I do for a living?
Yes.
I believe long-term financial success comes from owning real estate. And I've this belief system for the last 2 decades. And me and my team in the Houston market have expertise where we help thousands of people make the right financial decision, whether it's buying a home, selling a home, doing residential or commercial. If I can help you make the right financial decision in real estate, would that be value to you, Smita?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So I'm a licensed realtor. I have a lot of expertise. What differentiates me from other realtors? Most realtors rely on the local MLS to find listings for sale, which is resale homes, which I believe you also have access to. What I specialize is finding opportunities which are not even listed. And I specialize in finding opportunities, especially with builders and developers that are going to be built in the near future. What's good and bad about that, Smita, is that if you buy a resale home today, you got to close in 30 to 45 days. But if the market shifts, a COVID wave comes in, or rates go up, you could be caught in the wrong side of the tunnel. On the other hand, with new construction, it's covered with warranty, but you have a longer lead time. Based on what I've shared with you, is that of even interest to you, Smita?
Yes, I think so. I would like to hear a little bit more about this.
Perfect. Once we do this, let's set up some time where I can engage with you, share with you more detail, and tell you about how me and my team can help you make the right financial decision.
Sounds good. Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much.
So repeat, what was Jay's question, Smita? What did he ask?
Jay's question was a little different because he said, what is an example of a vision you would suggest to a potential client before asking them to retain you as an agent?
Great question. So with a potential client, prospect, I may not necessarily talk about my vision, but I'll talk about my belief system. Where I believe owning real estate is a ticket to retirement, ticket to financial success. I will share with them my journey, my story of buying my first home when I was 21-year-old, my journey of buying investment homes, or helping clients do certain things. And I'll share with them why I'm here to help them make the right decision. If that means they're not going to buy a home for the next 6 months or a year, so be it. So I don't necessarily talk about my vision when I'm engaging with clients, but directly, indirectly, they'll be aware of where I'm at, what I'm going to be doing. So when I'm talking about objectively how I can help them make the right decision, and I make it seem, you know what, with or without me, you can be successful. With or without you, I'll be successful. I make it seem the way I communicate, the way I speak to the clients is that I'm good where I'm at. You actually need me to help you make the right decision. And if you hire me, I'll do whatever it takes to make you successful.
That's great. So yeah, that does answer the question. So I think, and you answered it very well, is that the vision is not potentially to show the client where you're going, but this vision that you're talking about is more of your vision, right? In life, where you want to go, or how you want to be successful, or where you want to reach. And then you're talking to them about what your belief system is. Because when you're talking about your belief system, you're sharing with them what's important to you, and you're kind of bringing them into that into it with you.
That's correct. So Smitha, you got to be clear about your vision in life, okay? But you got to lead all discussions, all interactions, all engagements by what value you can bring to them. As a realtor, what value you can bring to them. But when you say, hey, I'm a realtor, call me, When you want to buy a home, what you're leading by is your ask.
Mhm.
Call me when you want to buy a home, so you can earn some commission. What about me? What about the buyer? When you lead by adding value to help them answer questions, share knowledge base, share expertise, give them insights about areas that flooded, for example, school zoning. Now you're adding value. And when you add value, your ask gets fulfilled in the future.
Love that. So, Jay, I hope that answers your question. Lead by value and talk about your belief system because then they know, like, and trust you and they're willing to work with you. Awesome. So tell me more about Steve Jobs.
I mean, that's my favorite quote, Smith. If you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to push, the vision pulls you. So I was born with batteries included.
All right.
I go nonstop. I have one life and I'll do whatever it takes to hustle on a daily basis. But a lot of people, especially realtors, need a push. They have a good month, good week, they make some money and they get day lazy and they go up and down because they are again goal driven. Their goal maybe I want to sell 3 homes this month, 5 homes this month. I want to earn $10,000, $20,000. They're goal driven. But when you're vision driven, it's so much different. I can share a story with you. In 2013, I used to work for an oil and gas company, and I would travel offshore to the rigs. And I would work 1 month, Smith, I get 1 month off. And in my off time, I got my license to do real estate part time. So I was working full time in corporate America, and had my license. That year, when I was in corporate America, 2013, my base salary was about $93,000 and change. And being an immigrant, being from India, I had a vision that when I come to this country, I want to get to the $100,000 base salary. So that year in March, I told my hiring manager, this year when I get my pay raise, you know what, I want to get to $100,000. So I let that be known. My ask was known. I was working hard on my job, traveling, doing all those things while I was doing real estate. In October, I got my pay raise. Phenomenal letter from my HR. My base salary went from $93,000 to $99,987.
Oh, wow.
$13 short of $100,000 for the company I worked for. That was nothing. It was insignificant. Whether it was intentional or not, it would never be known. But that was a straw that broke my back, and I quit corporate America. Now, leaving corporate America with a steady income job, almost $100,000, becoming a realtor was not easy. But I believed in myself. I believed in my skill. I knew that my education, my experience, nobody could take that away. But going back to vision, the following year in Feb, I went for my ex brokerage's conference. And based on production, I had made about $60,000 in commission as a part-time realtor in 2013. Based on that commission, I was going to get an award. So they had different stacks of awards. The lowest one, which they call Executive Club. I said, I'm not going on stage for that award. I mean, that's whatever. The highest award in my previous brokerage was when you make over $1 million. At the same event, Smitha, a girl walked across the stage and she won brokerage name Rising Star Award in the state of Texas. I said, what the hell is that? Came back to my office, went to my broker and asked, tell me about this Rising Star Award. He said, Kunal, for that, you got to earn $250,000 and you got to do all of these things. I said, I'm going to win it this year.
Did you win it?
He smirked at me. I said, all right, I got it. I'm going to get it done. I came back to my office, went to my brother-in-law, saw it. I'm going to win RE/MAX Rising Star this year because I got to win it. And that year, I did win that award. We closed over $28 million in the first year. And I did earn over $250,000. Now, yes, it was a goal, but it was a vision that drove me. I want to see myself walk across that stage. But if I was goal driven, I would have stopped right there. Oh, I got the Rising Star Award in Texas, so be it. I'm all set. No, that award, that production, that financial success is in the rear view mirror. It's long, far gone, right? It's only because I'm vision driven, not goal driven. And that's what's imperative for people to figure out what their vision life is. What's their why? Why do they wake up every morning? What's their driver, their kids, their family, whatever it may be? Put that front and center. For me, Smitha, my vision is to leave a legacy of impact. A legacy of impact that will be long, long remembered, long, long after I'm gone. by my kids, by my grandkids, and next few. That's why the next few things I'm going to talk about today. So in Houston, we're actually building a 3-story building, and we call it the Seth. Can you go to the next slide, please? And Seth happens to be my last name, but it stands for Successful Entrepreneurs Transform Here. Next slide. Smith, I just skimmed through slides. So this is the rendering of my building in Houston. It's off a major freeway. And we broke ground last year. You can keep going. That's the lobby area.
It looks amazing.
If you pause over here. So that's the actual, I'm actually sitting in a building right now. The building says Seth, which stands for Successful Entrepreneurs Transformed Here. My vision is to transform other realtors, other entrepreneurs to be more successful. There's no way I would have had this building had I still been in corporate America. So the steps I've taken today is because I take nothing for granted. I wake up every day. What do I need to do today that's going to make my kids, my grandkids' life better? And it may sound crazy. We have big sporting events in Houston, football team and all that stuff. I'm not a sports fan. The way I look at that is the outcome of a football game, the outcome of a sporting event will have no bearing, no impact on the future of my kids. I'm not talking against people who are football fans. If that's what you love doing, do it. I have no interest in it because I'm focused. I gotta make the best of my life every day so I can leave a legacy for my kids. So I have 2 young boys, 7 and 8. My business partner, Sonnet, he has 2 daughters, 12 and 13. And having the name of a major freeway in Houston is fantastic. You want to go to the next slide, Smitha? I have a few more pictures to scroll over. That's another rendering of the building. So where building is designed, we have 3-story project. First floor is designed as an event space. Next one. Lobby area. Second floor, what's really crazy is, again, based on Glenn's vision, he bought the Success brand 2.5 years back. Now we have Success Coaching, Success Lending, and we have Success Space. I've taken 7,000 square feet space on the second floor of my building and made that into a Success Space. Why? Because I believe in the vision of Glenn, that he's not a business that he picks up fail. I believe in the model of having virtual setup at EXP. At the same time, agents need a place to go and collaborate, engage, get face-to-face meetings and interact. That's why I spent millions of dollars in this building, have made the financial commitment, a 10-year franchise agreement with Success Space. Now, in the US market, you have so many brands, WeWorks, Regis, a lot of brands that do co-working. I mean, I could run my own co-working space. But when you are aligned with people who are visionary, then you got to understand what's their why. And I have an idea what Glenn's why is. That's why when he said we're opening a new business model, which is Success Space, I said, sign me up. I was one of the first 10 ones in the country. In fact, our location, the first one that opened up in the US market. So again, I'm vision driven. Next slide, Smitha. That's me standing on the rooftop with my business partner, Sonnet. We just celebrating the fact we finished the building last November and we're in the space. So it's empowering. But you see, nobody had to come and tell me, Kunal, wake up, Kunal, do this, Kunal, go sell a home, Kunal, get a job. You know what? No matter who's listening to a podcast or this video today, someone in their family came to America with a whole lot of nothing. They came with a drive, hunger, and vision. And somehow, as they go down, they get complacent, they get lazy. They rely on the food stamps and the unemployment benefits. But when you are driven and you have a fear or concern that things will be taken away, you do whatever it takes. And that's what the first generation mindset is all about, Smita.
I love it. Fantastic. First of all, congratulations. This looks fabulous. And your first ever Success Space. So that's great. Huge congratulations to the both of you. And yeah, I mean, I think for me, the few key takeaways is definitely have clarity of your vision, because that's what helps you not get complacent. That's what helps you get up every day and say, you know what, I'm going to go crush it. And that's what you did. Because there's a lot of people, when they were short that $13, would say, oh, you know what? Now that's going to be my next goal for next year. And let me just keep doing what I'm doing. But what you did is said, you know what? I'm not going to let that $13 stop me. I'm going to do what I want, what I need to do, what my vision is. And you went and you got it. So that's fantastic. Congratulations. Before we head into kind of our next topic, which is how to decode and win Indian clients, I do want to delve a little bit deeper, Kunal, into when you keep talking about the first generation mindset. By the way, I'm sold. I think it's so important for all of us to think this way every day because that's what gets you going. But also, I want to understand a little bit about people that are going or are looking to imbibe this mindset into themselves. Tell me a little bit what traits or what qualities should they be working towards, or what should they be aware of as they're moving through this three-step process?
A lot of people, Smita, have inherent skills to identify their values or their first generation mindset. But the easiest way would be they should find someone around them who's a first time business owner, first immigrant, first one in the family to come to America, first one to be a single mom. Go ask them, go talk to them what struggles they're having or what struggles they had, and get a sense of what it takes to be successful. So having conversation with other people, because if you're around people who are just like you, who take things for granted, no one's forcing you to think about how to get better, you'll get complacent. So again, reflecting about, because all of us, Smita, have done something in our life that was the first one in the family. You could be the first one who moved to a big town, first one, to get a college degree, and think about what you went through at that stage. Would you want your kids, your grandkids to get complacent when they go to college, next generation? No. You want them to value the fact they are able to go to college or go and live in a big town. So again, reactivating a first generation mindset is critical. For me, I mean, I was born with batteries included, so I just operate a different frequency. But if you do not have that, if you're not that kind of person, find someone around you. I truly believe, Smita, people who get coached and mentored always outperform people who don't. Find a mentor, find a coach, find somebody that you can hear from, listen to, and evaluate what they did or what they are doing today to be more successful. And you don't have to limit yourself to someone who is a realtor. It could be anyone, could be an entrepreneur, could be someone who works somewhere, but ask them the whys. What I really credit corporate America, especially being an auditor, is that I ask a lot of questions. I dig deep. Even when I'm working with clients, I ask them, why are you buying a home? Why now? Why not yesterday? Why this size? Why? When I ask all those whys, I get a good sense of what is driving them today to make a decision. I'm in a better position to push them towards the finish line. This is where, before you ask others why, ask yourself why. Why did you in the first place get your license? Why did you get that job? Why are you doing what you're doing today? And sometimes that why gets backburnered or buried away. Reactivate that. And what I'm showing you over here, I say this to myself every day. I don't know how I'm going to win. I just know I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to lose. I may lose a battle here or one there, lose one client there, lose one client there. That's going to happen. That's part of the game. But I'm going to leave a legacy behind, one way or the other. And that's what drives me every day, Smita.
Love it, love it. A few key takeaways that I took away is definitely, and I think this goes with a lot of, there's a the saying or a quote, and I'm going to butcher this for sure, but it says you are the average of the five people that you hang out with. So what you said is surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up, motivate you, but are going to ask you those difficult questions because that's when you start thinking and step outside your comfort zone. So that's definitely important. Find a coach and a mentor. And I think for all of us, we're all, if you don't have a coach and mentor, go get one. Even somebody as big as Tony Robbins or, some of the big names, they all have coaches and mentors that they go to every day. So that's very, very important. And I think the third thing for all of us to take away is after listening to the first generation mindset, we all need to take a moment maybe once this is done, take 10 minutes. And as Kunal said, keep digging deeper, right? Get a pen and paper and start asking yourself why. So eventually you will get to that vision that you're working towards, because if you don't have clarity about your vision, you wouldn't know what value to provide. So that's a very important exercise for all of us to do, is to really sit down and keep asking. By the way, Kunal, you keep telling us that you're an auditor. Not many people like auditors. I'm just letting you know.
Yes,
But
but
I,
you know what?
but I like that mindset of asking why, because I think that's what drills down and really makes us think. So I challenge everybody out there today to, once we're done with this, get a pen and paper and start asking yourself that question, why, and don't stop. Like, keep going, keep drilling down, because that's when you'll get your clarity.
Absolutely. So in 10 years that I spent corporate America as an auditor, Smita, I had a guaranteed spot in hell.
I wouldn't put it that. I mean, that's a little bit too much.
Listen, being an auditor, nobody likes us. But here's where I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to talk about how to decode and win Indian clients. But before I do that, for the last 45, 50 minutes, I've been talking about the first generation mindset, about the value, vision, ask. This is my value to you. When I'm going to train you, coach you, mentor you, how do you work effective with Indian buyers? And give you a perspective. When I first came to America, I did not understand the American culture. I had to adapt myself, learn the American ways. Now, over the years, I have adapted certain aspects of being American and certain aspects I want to keep of my Indian culture. So I cherry pick which aspects I apply on a daily basis, both in my business and a personal way. But coming to America first, this was back in 2001. It'll sound really funny today, but I went for a breakfast with my professor, and we were three, four students, and we went out for breakfast. As we were having breakfast, I had to order my breakfast, and we were in a place called Denny kind of place in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the menu was elaborate. It had 10,000 choices, and I was all confused. As a 20-year-old, I was flustered. I nudged the friend next to me and asked him, "Listen, what should I order?" He said, "Number three, number three." So the server came. I said, "I want number three." She looked at me and said, "How do you want your eggs?" "Yeah, yeah, I want eggs." "No, how do you want your eggs? You want fried? You want sunny side up?" I said, "Yeah, sunny side up, sunny side up." "Do you want toast?" I said, "Yeah, toast sounds good." "You want white bread, wheat bread?" I said, "Yeah, wheat bread, wheat bread." "You want juice?" Yes, I said, "I want juice." "What kind of juice?" "Orange juice, with pulp, without pulp." Oh my God. By that time she was done, I was all ready. I said, "Please get off my case and get me some breakfast." The point I'm trying to make is I did not have the confidence to order breakfast for myself. I had to adapt, change myself, be more confident, be a public speaker, get on stages, do all those things. I had to learn those things. But certain aspects of my cultural upbringing, where we spend money not beyond our means, but within our means, we are budget oriented people. When we make decisions, it's a group decision making process. When we buy things, we buy with long term sight in place. There are certain aspects of the Indian culture which most Americans do not understand. And their perspective is, well, you're in America today, learn our ways or have a nice day. But as I go through this presentation, I'll share with you the buying power of Indian buyers. And India today is the most populous country in the world. And average Indian household income is significantly higher than an average American household. So if you're listening to this today, what I'm going to share with you are certain insights about Indian buyers that's going to help you decode them and win them. Key point, I did not say sell to Indian buyers. I said decode and win them. Because once you decode them, understand their culture, you win their trust. Once you win their trust, your ask, which is a sale, will eventually come.
Love it. So you've actually have an amalgamation of all the cultures and you put it together for all of us to learn. That's great. Stephanie, can we go to the next slide?
So the training today, and Stephanie, as I talk, you can just slide through it. I'm going to talk about why we're focusing on clients from India. I'll give you an overview about India, how to decode them, how to win them, and Q&A. So normally I do this training at big stages, and I like interactive sessions where people ask me tons of questions. In live training, I actually do a role play. I pretend to be a typical Indian buyer. I bring people from the audience. Since we are on virtual platform, it'll be hard to do a role play.
I'm going to be your not typical Indian buyer. How about that?
Okay. So first good news is I've done this training numerous times. These are some of the builders, lenders I've trained at a national level. Last month I was in Tampa. Next month I'm traveling to Atlanta to train some realtors and salespeople. I train builders. I've done the training at different conferences. Next slide. All right. So why are we focusing Indian clients? You can just go to the next one. So this chart shows you the average household income of someone who's of Indian origin versus all the other ethnic backgrounds. If you see at the bottom of the chart, a typical American household average income is about $65,000 to $66,000. An Indian household is almost double. So they are well qualified and they have a lot of income. Right? When Indians come to America, they typically come here to work. An H-1B visa is a work permit that's given to them. So even when I came to US, I came on a student visa, which was F1, and then I got my H-1B, which is work permit, then green card, then citizenship. So most H-1B visas are given to people from India.
Yep, I was one of them.
Yep. I should go back. So, and again, when they come to America, they're highly educated. Majority of them have undergrad degree, and more than half of them have a graduate degree. Now, when you think about Indians, we have been marginalized by the media. You can go to the next slide. When you think about Indians, you think about the cartoon Simpsons. You think about the character Apu, or you think about the cab drivers in New York City. But guess what? A lot of companies are being led by people of Indian origin. I have some names over here. Your Google, Microsoft, Starbucks, Chanel, all these companies today are led by people of Indian origin. So if you thought you were not working with them, directly or indirectly working with them. In fact, our current vice president of America is somebody of Indian origin. Her mom was born and raised in India. So if you have not worked with Indians, if you've not had exposure, you are going to interact with them, if not today, then tomorrow. Next slide. Now, when they move to US, primarily they're moving to 3 states, California, New Jersey, and then Texas is about 9 to 10%. So why we focus on Indian clients? They have the highest median household income, second highest foreign-born population by country in America. They have the highest number of H-1B visas, work permits are given to people from India, and they're very well educated. Next slide. So I'm going to share some key facts with you about India, the location, ethnic makeup, faces of India, and religious makeup. So some key facts about India: 7th largest country, world's largest democracy, largest English-speaking nation in the world. India has more people who speak English than America. Did you know that? And again, just early on this year, it's not something we're proud about, but India is the most populous country in the world. We have 1.4 billion people. Almost 17 to 18% population of this world is Indians. Location-wise, India is in Asia. So when you think about Asians, you normally think, oh, you must be from China or Vietnam, but Indians are also Asians. And India is on the other end of the world. So in the Texas market today, in Central Time Zone, it's about 12 p.m. over here. In India, it's 12 a.m. So it's almost opposite time zone. What I'm showing you over here is how the country India was formed. 70 million years back, the landmass that you see at the bottom of the slide was way south in the Indian Ocean. And over all these years, that landmass drifted north and hit the Asia continent. Now, you may have heard about Mount Everest and Himalayas. That's a mountain chain that's right in the country Nepal, which is right over there. This landmass is still drifting north and making these mountains taller every day. Now, you're wondering what happened in Asia 70 million years back. What relevance does that have today? Actually, it has a lot of relevance. So the next slide. For example, in America, you have primarily a few races. You have the Caucasian race, African American, Latino race. We have different races, but these races came to America intentionally. Whereas in India, we have 3 races primarily. We have the Indo-Aryan race, Dravidian race, and the Tibeto-Burman race. And the color coding shows you what part of India they live in. So these people came together over the shift of landmass over millions of years. So when you look at Indians, it is extremely diverse country. The languages we speak, the clothes we wear, the food we eat is extremely different. Next slide. So over here, I'm showing some pictures of people. The top right corner, you see a picture of two girls. They are the Tibeto-Burman race. They're Indian. The person in the top left corner, he is from a state called Punjab. He's a Sikh. Bottom left, this person is from a place called Rajasthan, north part of India. Now, while both of them have a headgear, the religious beliefs are completely different. The person in the bottom right corner, he's from southern part of India. If I was to bring one person from each state of India, they would all look different. Languages, eating habits, the way they dress up would be completely different. So what unifies India is a national language, which is Hindi, Hindi. Anyone, everyone who goes to school in India is bilingual. So all subjects like history, geography, science, they are all taught in English. So if I'm from southern part of India, I would study English, Hindi, and based on what region, I would study Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu. If I'm from northern part of India, I would probably study Punjabi. If I'm from west part of India, I would study Hindi, English, and Gujarati. So most Indians speak more than two languages, but if someone's gone to school, they're all bilingual. That's why India has most English speaking people in the world. Next slide. Religious makeup of India. 80% population of India is Hindu, but we have 1.4 billion people. Even 2% or 5% is a big population in India for the other religious backgrounds. Smita, am I going too fast? Any questions coming up?
You're good so far.
Okay.
My facts are being refreshed.
All right. I'm going to switch gear, talk about how do you decode Indian clan. I'm going to talk about three things: body language, naming convention, and communication style. First one up, body language. So if you've not experienced it, if you meet with Indians, they do a lot of this, left to right and right to left. And when they do that, it gets confusing. Are they saying a yes or are they saying a no? So certain regions of India, we do a lot of head bob, but not all Indians head bob. When an Indian is communicating with you and they're head bobbing, what they are communicating is they're acknowledging what you are saying, that they're in conversation with you, not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing. So head bob left to right does not mean a yes, does not mean a no. Now, just because I've decoded for you, please do not start head bobbing with them. That's a trait you do not want to emulate. You would actually offend them. But next time you see Indian head bob, you should understand their conversation with you, not necessarily saying a yes or saying a no. So when I was new in America, I would be talking to my American friends. I would ask them a question, and they would say, I would say, dude, either you say yes or yeah. What's this business? That was alien to me. Same way the head bob is alien to you.
I've caught myself doing this.
You have?
Absolutely, I have.
With or without music?
Both.
Both? Naming conventions. There's an interesting one where if I meet someone in Texas, California, or New Jersey, the name is John Smith, you can't tell what part of America they're from. But in India, the names are based on region and religion. So if I'm from northern part of India, generally speaking, we have the short first name, short last name. So my first name is Kunal, last name Seth. In southern part of India, the naming convention is more complex. So they generally have longer names. So in some regions, the wife takes the husband's first name, and that becomes their last name. If you meet someone and their last name is Shah, Shah, or Patel, Patel, then they are from a state called Gujarat, which is on the western part of India. So the region they come from, the religion that they follow, determines their last name. The last one I have is Sikh. The picture I showed you, the person with the headgear who had a turban, those people have the name Singh, Singh, either as a middle name or the last name. So if we meet someone whose name is Singh, it's fair to assume that they're from northern part of India. communication style. When you talk to Indians, when you talk to people like me, we are perceived to talk in circles. You ask us a question, you would never get a direct answer. Well, guess what? That's a big misconception. Our communication style is based on the delicacy of the relationship. If I'm communicating with my peer, I'm going to be direct. Communicating with my manager, supervisor, I'm going to be indirect. Communicating with my subordinate, I'm going to be blunt or rude. So do not go to the next slide, but hold off over here. Smita, I know you've been in America for over 20 years. I want you to take your Indian hat off, put your American hat on, as though you're born and raised in America. All
Got
right?
it.
So I'm going to make an assumption. Okay? Let's just say it's Glenn's son's wedding, right? We all know who Glenn Sanford is.
Yes.
And he invites you for the wedding, and you have a conflict, and you must decline the invite. What would you say? And answer this question as though you were an American. What would you say, Smita?
Listen, I call myself an American because I've been here for over 22 years now. So I would say thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. But unfortunately, I have a prior commitment that I'm just not able to cancel. And so I am going to unfortunately miss this amazing occasion.
Okay. So when I do the live training, I pick random person from the audience, and they almost say what you said right now. And people listening today probably are saying the same thing in their mind. Yeah, that's what I will tell Glenn. I'm sorry, can't make it. A prior commitment. Now, if the same question was asked to an Indian by their boss.
I'm ready, by the way. I'm going to put my Indian hat on.
All right, let's see what that is. Go to the next slide, Smita. When they want to be indirect, now they're declining. They're saying no to Glenn, but they're being indirect. Wow, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm sure it will be a very great time. I will do my best to make sure I am there. They're declining, but they're being indirect. When they want to be direct, thank you so much for the invitation. It'll be a great honor to be there, but I will try to come. But I will try to come. They're saying no, but they're being direct. Now, when they want to be rude, guess what they will say? They will say, I'm so sorry. I won't be able to come as I have prior commitment. Now, Smita, what you said a minute back was more in line with number 3, correct? And if I was to survey people on this coaching call today, and I were to ask them, what you said was not rude. Your communication style was right communication style for Americans. But that communication style for the Indians is actually rude. Saying no is considered rude. So in our business, we are trained and taught as salespeople, as realtors, be direct. If there's a home for sale for $500,000 and the buyer says, I want to offer 350, you tell them, nope, not gonna happen, not gonna get it, have a nice day, right? On the other hand, when dealing with Indian buyers, while you know for a fact that a listing at $500,000 will never, ever get sold for 350, what you should consider saying is, you know what, I understand you want to offer 350 because that's your budget. But while I understand you can afford more, let me see what I can do. I'll try my best to get you the home for $350,000. Now, as realtors, we are required to submit offers, communicate our offer terms to the listing agent, which you should do. But what I normally do is I call the listing agent and explain to him, listen, I understand your home is what $500,000. My client wants to offer 350. I don't know it's too low, but I just want to at least let you know that they were interested in the home. And I go back to the client. You know what? I tried. They're not going to agree to 350. Why don't we go to 375, 350, 385? So with Indians, there is a lot of ping pong or back and forth you have to do. But when you're direct with them and say, nope, not going to happen, you're being rude. It's a big shift when you work with a typical American person, when you work with a typical Indian buyer. So being indirect is actually a better way of communicating with Indian buyers. Smith, is this making sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, any questions that are coming up so far?
So far, no. I think this is important for all, a lot of real estate agents to understand how to communicate with their clients. Who is, if you're the agent and you're helping your client buy or sell real estate and they're of South Asian descent, like you said, sometimes it's better to be indirect instead of being very direct, because that may be perceived as being rude.
Yeah, just saying I will try will help you win their business. So a lot of times I ask the question, what's the most important thing to win Indian clients? A lot of people say, give them the best deal, do less head bob, or discount your commission, do this or do that. So while all those are possible answers, I believe the best way to win Indian clients is on the next slide. So when I do presentation, it's more dramatic. First, a circle comes up, then the picture pops in, and then the text. So this is from Meet the Fockers, where they have this concept about circle of trust, right? For the Indian buyer, being in a circle of trust is everything. Once you win their trust, they become advocates for you for life. They will buy homes, they will send their friends, they'll send their neighbors, they'll send their family members. But winning the trust is not easy. They don't trust realtors, they don't trust the building process, they don't trust salespeople. So my objective today through this training class is to help and give you some insights about Indian buyers or Indian culture that'll help you get in the circle of trust. Because once you get in the circle of trust, your ask is to sell them a home, and which will get fulfilled. So I'm going to talk about three things: religious beliefs, cultural values, and buying habits. So you guys may have heard the term called feng shui. Feng shui applies to buyers who are from Asia and are Chinese. For Indian buyers, it's called Vastu. That's spelled Vastu. So Vastu is an extremely complex science of building. It's actually a point system. So you get points of what direction the front door faces, where's the kitchen, where's the bedroom, where's the cooktop. It's a point system. So a lot of buyers, when they first move to US and when they're buying their first home, a lot of times they have requests to buy a home that's Vastu compliant. And it could be the parents, the in-laws, or priests back at home in India that they may be telling them, make sure you buy a Vastu compliant home. Now, Vastu is extremely complex. I'm going to cover a key things that are most requested. So as per Vastu, north or east direction is considered the most auspicious. So key point over here is it's not the direction the home or the front elevation faces, but the direction the front door faces. So if I'm standing outside the home, I put my back against the front door, the direction that I'm facing, that's the direction I'm referring to. If it's north or east facing, it's considered positive or auspicious. If it's south facing, not positive, not auspicious. Now, if your client was building a custom home or doing a ground up construction, generally speaking, they would prefer a rectangle shaped lot. So if it's a 60 feet in the front, 60 at the back, 120 either side, a rectangle shaped lot is the most preferred. If the lot is irregular shaped lot, they prefer cul-de-sac shaped lots, which are narrow in the front and wide at the back. That mimics a cow's mouth. A cow's mouth, if you can imagine, is narrow in the front and wide at the back. So if a lot mimics a cow's mouth, it's considered positive or auspicious. If you flip that, if the lot is wide in the front and narrow at the back, that mimics a lion's mouth. Lion's mouth shaped lots are considered inauspicious. So what you see in the slide over here is Gao Mukhi. Gao means cow, Mukhi means mouth. Sher means lion, Mukhi means mouth. Sher Mukhi, Gao Mukhi. I do not expect you to remember these terms, Gao Mukhi, Sher Mukhi, and all that stuff. All I want you to do is say certain key things. When you work with buyers from India, don't just assume that they want to buy a Vastu compliant home. Ask the key question. Ask them, do you need the home to face a key specific direction? If they say yes, okay, north or east, let them tell you. And that's it. Ask them a question. Is there anything else that's important to you? If they don't say anything more, stop right there. Because if you do your own research and make your own list of all the Vastu compliant things, you will never be able to sell a home unless your client is building a custom home. Because science of building Vastu is extremely complex. Even the staircase, whether it's right orientation or left orientation, one is auspicious, one is inauspicious. Where should the headboard go? Where should the bed go? The cooktop, the kitchen sink, all that is in Vastu. So do not vomit out your expertise. Ask them a question, what's important to them, and then find a home for them. Makes sense? Okay. This is an interesting slide where the girl on the left is saying, everything covered but our eyes. What a cruel male dominated culture. The lady on the right is saying, everything covered but our eyes. What a cruel male dominated culture. So the lady on the right, she's actually wearing an abaya. Her religious belief, she's a Muslim. In a culture, in a religion, they actually cover themselves up. Now, for the lady on the right, the way the lady on the left is dressed up is completely wrong, completely absurd, wrong in her eyes. For the lady on the left, the way the lady in the black is dressed up is wrong and absurd. Now, I'm not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong, because what's right for me could be wrong for you, and what's wrong for you could be right for me. All I'm doing today is giving you perspective of different cultures, different values. I've seen firsthand realtors walking the sales office with a buyer who's dressed up in this black abaya or black or cultural outfit, and the salesperson or the listing agent, when they see them, they're like, "Oh wow, are you crazy? It's Texas, 100 degrees, you dressed up like this." Guess what you did? You will never get in the circle of trust. Understand the culture, understand the value is important to you, because only then you can get in the circle of trust.
I have a very funny comment from our live audience about the head bob, by the way. So the lava flow, she says, my best friend, he or she says, my best friend is Indian. And when he does the head bob, I know he's happy and we agree. I head bob back to him, LOL. Now I know it's a yes or a no.
So in a funny way, the faster the head bob, the happier they are. That's what she's saying.
Pretty much.
Not necessarily, but thanks for sharing lava flow. That but you got to keep in mind, maybe because you have a close relationship with your friend, so you mimicking his head bob may be humorous to you and humorous to him. But generally speaking, if you meet a stranger, somebody you do not know, and if they're head bobbing, I would highly recommend lava flow. Do not flow with that. Do not head bob with them. Right. So next few cultural values, they are risk averse, one-upsmanship, and group decision making. So generally speaking, Indian buyers would buy homes in good school zones. They look at price per square feet. They may not be as excited about, the media room has all equipment set up or cameras or this or that. For them, it's about value for money. One-upsmanship is an interesting one. So when you work with Indian buyers, whether you're a salesperson or a realtor, a lot of times they make up stuff. Well, my friend got this deal. When they're working with a lender, my friend got this interest rate or this closing cost. What are you going to do for me? So I'll share a true story with you. 20 plus years back when I was still in India, one of my friends who was living in America came to India for a holiday with her American boyfriend. And he had just got a job. I was meeting him for the very first time in my life, and he had just got a job. So I asked him, "Okay, John, so how much money do you make?" He looked at me like, "What? Who the hell are you? And what's your problem?" I kept asking, "How much money you make? How much money? How much money you make?" Till I got my answer. Looking back at it, it was absurd, absolutely absurd of me to ask that question. But if I told you this, think about 5 of your closest friends. You got them?
Mm-hmm.
Now, tell me how many of them know how much money you make in a year? Your answer is probably going to be 0 or 1. In America, we don't talk about how much money we make to anyone. Guess what? In India, we talk about that with strangers, right? So would they care to talk about what discount they got, what points they paid, what interest rate they got, or price they paid for the home they bought? No, it's all about, oh, you paid $500,000. Well, I got home for 485. What can you do for that, right? It's all about one-upsmanship. They want to put other person down by showing that they got a better deal. So keep that in mind next time we work with Indian buyers. Decision making. When you work with a typical American family, the person on the mortgage or the couple on the mortgage is going to make the decision. Are they buying a home in one neighborhood or the other one? What size of home? How many bedrooms, bathrooms? For a typical Indian household, it's a group decision making process. They would have their father in law, mother in law, their neighbor, their uncle, their aunt. They have a group decision making process. So if you're working with Indian buyer, do not just engage with a client who's going to be on the contract or on the mortgage. Engage with everyone. Unless they have a language barrier, talk to each one of them, figure out the perspective, figure out who in that group is a decision maker. So normally they look at somebody who's experienced, has a knowledge base, or has expertise to round their opinion whether they should buy a certain size home or where they should buy the home. So group decision making is really important in the Indian culture. Okay, less touching between genders. The two easy giveaways are if you're meeting with the Indian client and if they're dressed up in a cultural outfit or a conservative outfit like a abaya or a sari, then generally speaking, you should not be forthcoming with shaking the hand. If they're older age profile, then again, you should refrain yourself. The easiest thing is if you're a female salesperson, go ahead and extend your hand and shake the wife's hand or female's hand. Don't extend to the opposite gender. If you are a male salesperson, shake the hand of the husband. If the wife or the female extends a hand, then shake the hand. So it's better to be conservative than be aggressive. In America, we are trained that everyone's equal. You got to shake the man's hand, shake the female's hand. In certain cultures, that's not right, especially if they're from a small town in India, or the religious belief are that they do not interact with the opposite gender in the open. So be conservative, let them extend the hand, and then shake the hand. Cultural values, joint family. This is a really interesting one. I'll give you my perspective. I'm not saying one is right or one is wrong. In America, if you are 20-year-old or 19-year-old, 21-year-old, you're expected to move out of the home and be independent. When you get older, when you are a grandfather, grandmother, it's okay for you to live in an old age home. Now, these two things are frowned upon in India. If I'm 20-year-old, 40-year-old, or 50-year-old, I can live with my parents as long as I want to. The expectation that when my parents get old, I'll take care of them. They live with me. That's why what you see in this picture is a joint family setup, which is where you could have parents, their two sons, their daughter. They're all living in one household. In fact, my parents in Houston live with me. It's a blessing. I have young kids. They take care of my kids. They add value. They teach our Indian culture to my kids. So joint family is really important to us. Now, how does that impact you as a realtor? When they buy a home with long-term perspective, because when they have family that's still in India and they visit them, they don't come for a day, they don't come for a week, they don't come for a month, they come for 6 months, sometimes up to a year. So if they have older parents or in-laws, if they're visiting them from India, if you have a two-story home, having a bedroom for your parents or in-laws on the second floor is going to be challenging to go up and down the stairs. So generally speaking, they would prefer a home that has two bedrooms on the first floor, or at least a guest suite on the first floor. This way, when the parents in-laws come, they don't have to go up and down the stairs. So their buying habits are based on the fact that when family comes, they would visit them long term, or when they move to US, they may live with them. So they design the home in such a way they align with multi-generational household. What I'm showing you over here is typically how Americans in America stand in line. In the picture below is typically how Indians stand in line in India. Now, if I bring these people from India to America, they're like, what's wrong with you? Come on, moving up. There's so much space. If I take any one of you or the people in that picture to India, like, whoa, what's going on over here? Where is my personal space? So again, it's a big cultural difference. India has 1.4 billion people. No matter what time of the day it is, no matter what day of the week it is, whether you go to a bank, a grocery store, a pharmacy, there are people everywhere. So there's lack of personal space. Now, this is one thing that I had to adapt myself and learn the American way to maintain this one arm distance. It's been about 5 or 6 years back, pre-COVID. I went for a holiday to India, and I've been already in America for about 10, 15 years. So I had adapted myself. So my mom had asked me to go to the ATM and get some cash, get some money. I went to the bank, went to the ATM. I was waiting my turn. I was 5 feet away from the guy in front of me. But by the time my turn came, I'd been pushed and nudged till I was right behind the guy in front of me. I got so uncomfortable. I got out of the line and came back without the money. So my mom asked me, Kunal, where's the money? I said, Mom, I could not be in the line. There were so many people. They were on top of me. And she looked at me, what are you talking about? You used to be the same person. You used to be pushing nudge. And that's true. Back in the day, I would be the one pushing and nudging. Come on up. Let's move in. There's so much space. But moving to America, I had to adapt myself. So as a salesperson, if you're working with Indian people and they are in your personal space, go behind the desk, go behind the computer, or maintain a distance. That is something that they need to adapt and learn. Now, I'll say this, there are sleazebags in every culture. But if an Indian is invading a personal space, more than likely they're new to the country or they've not adapted themselves to the American culture. Next slide. Buying habits. Budget oriented, value conscious, informed buyers. When you work with an American buyer, you would ask them, what do you pre-approve for? $500,000. Guess what they're spending to buy that home? $500,000. When you work with Indians, you do not ask them what they pre-approve for. You ask them what their budget is. If their budget is if they're pre-approved for $500,000, the budget probably would be $350,000. But they will ask you to make an offer for $250,000. So it's all about budget, not about pre-approval with Indian buyers. They're very value conscious and they're very informed buyers. Most realtors make a mistake that they show them a home. Okay, do you want to make an offer? Do you want to make an offer? Do you want to make an offer? It'll be gone, it'll be gone, it'll be gone. They create a sense of urgency. On the other hand, last year my team sold 335 homes. We did 117 million sales volume in 2022. Of that 117 million, more than 85 to 90% sales were to Indian buyers. I know how to work with them, how to engage with them. It's not about the pre-approval. It's about the budget. How do I win their business? And on my team, I have 45 team members. I have every ethnic background on my team. I train them, mentor them, coach them. They got to become a research partner with these Indian buyers. If they say, I have concerns about flooding, I have concerns about tax zone, or I have concerns about school rezoning, become a research partner. Research for them. Give them information dump about what they're seeking. Because I'll tell you this, Indians are not impulsive buyers. Indians are not impulsive buyers. They'll take the time, they'll do all the research. What you got to do is become a research partner with them, navigate the process with them, and get them to the finish line. Buying habits, love to negotiate. So when I do this training live, it's more dramatic. So in live class, I ask people by a show of hands, how many have they ever bought a car from a car dealership? I get 50, 100, 500 people raising their hands. And then I ask the question, how many of you have ever paid sticker price? And normally there's nobody. Last month I was in Tampa, Florida, and this person raised her hand. She said, I paid sticker price. I said, you paid sticker price?
Wow.
Why would you do that? Now, she happened to be the controller for that market. So she was not a salesperson or a realtor, and controller, financial background, they just are very black and white. They just do what they do. But in America, we know we never, ever pay sticker price at a car dealership. And the salesperson knows that you will never pay sticker price. They expect you to come and negotiate. And you expect to negotiate. That's an understanding. So when you buy a car from a car dealership, whether you get free car wash or free floor mats or the screen for the sun, you want something. You want something. You want to feel, I got a deal. I got a deal. That's a feeling you want to get when you leave the car dealership. Every person in America wants to get that feeling. Imagine if that mindset applies to everything you buy in India. The exceptions are, if I go to a McDonald's, TGIF or a name brand, national, international brand, then the sticker price is what I pay. But everything is negotiable in India. Again, back to the same vacation. When I was in India, I went to a pharmacy to pick up some toothbrush, shaving cream, that kind of stuff. And when I got to the counter, my bill was maybe $5 or $6. But there I was, talking back to myself. I was in India for a few weeks and I was wearing my Indian hat. I started negotiating with the store owner. Come on. And I was negotiating maybe 50 cents or maybe 25. There was nothing, but I had to negotiate. That's how the culture is. So in India, most businesses are mom and pop owned. They know you're going to negotiate. Cab fare, grocery shopping, everything. So they price it out. And they expect you to come and negotiate, and they price it down. So when you work with Indian buyers in America, they may come and tell you, listen, I'm going to buy 2 homes, I'm going to buy 3 homes, or I'm going to have 3 of my friends work with you as a realtor. Give me a better deal. Now, in some cases, they may buy multiple homes, or they may have multiple family members or friends buy homes with you, but not every time. Generally speaking, they're doing that to evaluate the stretch they have with you as a realtor or as a salesperson. So if I was in India today and I was shopping for, let's just say, a pen, and the pen was $5, I would say, well, I'll pay cash. What discount would you give me? 10%. Well, I'll buy 5 pens. What discount would you give me? Oh, you're going to buy cash? I'll give you 15% off. You know what? I'm going to buy 25 pens. What discount would you give me? Well, if you buy 25 pens and pay cash, I'll give you 30% off. In the end, my goal is to buy 1 pen and get 30% off. What I did was determine the stretch of the salesperson. And they buy that in America. When they're buying a home, buying a car, I'll 2 cars, 3 cars. So be mindful. As a realtor, if they tell you, I have 3 friends, or I want to buy 4 homes, get the damn pre-approval. Say if you have 4 friends, let me meet with them. If you buy a home, I will see what I can do for them. So call their bluff, but generally speaking, we are trained and groomed from younger days that everything is negotiable. If you pay the sticker price, you are a loser. Is that a question?
There is a question. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
All right. This is from an anonymous person, but it says, are there any specific marketing strategies or platforms that you have found to be particularly effective in reaching out to potential Indian clients? What are some expectations or preferences that Indian clients typically have when it comes to buying or selling properties? Could you share some challenges you have faced as an Indian realtor? So let's get to the first one. It says, are there any specific marketing strategies or platforms that you've found to be particularly effective in reaching out to potential Indian clients?
So almost every market that has an abundance of people from India, they have either a local, print newspaper publication, or they have local radio stations. So in Houston, we have multiple publications, multiple radio stations, which are geared towards people from South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So advertising in them, demonstrating success could be a strategy. But more importantly, you want to be part of the community. You want to be part of that culture. So when we have Christmas, Indians who are Hindus celebrate Diwali. Indians who are Muslim celebrate Eid. And, no matter what part of America you live in, when they're in this, they have these big celebrations. There are several other festivals which are regional based. So where you live, find out what region of India people you have in your market or your neighborhood or in the target area. If they're from a state called Punjab, their festivals are different. Find out when their New Year's is. Find out when their festivals are. Go to the place of worship. And it's open. I mean, you don't have to be Hindu or you don't have to be a Sikh to go to a Gurudwara or to a temple. And all faiths are welcome. Get involved in the community, contribute, take part in their events. When you do that, they will consider you as one of them, right? What you're doing is demonstrating value to them. You can't go there, listen, I'm a realtor, I'm the best, come buy home, come buy home, come buy home. That would not get you the business. Learning their culture and being involved in the community is the easiest and the best way to earn the business. So, but I know you had 4 or 5 bullet points. If you can go one by one question, I can answer all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one is, what are some common expectations or preferences that Indian clients typically have when it comes to buying or selling properties?
So expectation when they're buying a home, I could talk about earlier on, you have to engage with everyone involved in the decision-making process, not just the person who's going to be on the market. You have to understand the culture. If they say, I'm not going to buy a home or write the contract on this day because it's inauspicious, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? I got you the best deal. So knowing their culture, understand the culture, and not getting offended when they say no or they don't want to buy is the better way of engaging with them. So your question was, how do you ask the question again, Smith?
What are some common expectations or preferences that Indian clients typically have when it comes to buying or selling properties?
Other expectations from Indian buyers, engaging with everyone.
May I add one?
Yes.
They need to feel like they got a deal,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
That's a big one. They have to feel like, oh my gosh, I got the best deal ever. And how you value stack it, I guess, is important.
You're right. What's funny is I'll share a story. I sold a home a few years back for about $800,000-$900,000. But when I sold the home, the market was very active. It was seller's market. So there was not a whole lot of negotiation we could do or price reduction we could do. And this was a new construction home the client had bought. In the end, 5 rose bushes that cost under $100 made my client so happy. And I
Yeah.
told the construction man, listen, you got to do something. You got to do something for this client. So I can put some rose bushes. I said, please do it. And that got them happy. So, just an extra bit, small bit, even if it's insignificant dollar amount, makes them really happy.
Wonderful. And the last part was, could you share some challenges you have faced as an Indian realtor?
So big challenge that I face in Houston is when I was new, in newspaper, on radio, there are a lot of Indian or South Asian realtors in the Houston market. And the bar is very, very low. To first give you perspective, when Indians come to America, they don't come to America to be realtors. They come here to have professional jobs, doctors, engineers, and all of those things. And so did I. I did not come to America to be a realtor. So most Indian realtors are part-time realtors. They have a full-time job. They get the license on the side to save on commission. These same realtors are transaction-based realtors. They advertise on radio, on newspaper that, hey, call me, I'll be a realtor and I'll give you 1% back, 2% back. So Houston has an abundance of Indians and abundance of realtors of Indian origin, and they actually advertise. So as a new realtor, when I was brand new in 2014, I thought I'm Indian, I'm professional, I have a lot of value, I'll win their business, I'll win their trust. And I worked with some Indian clients for the first 3-6 months. I worked with them tirelessly, helping them find the right deal and do all those things. In the end, right before the contract is being signed, they would say, all right, Kunal, so how much discount are you going to give me? Like, come on, dude, I've worked my butt off for 6 months and now you want half my commission? I had no choice. I either had to walk away or give up my commission. That was the biggest challenge. What had changed and pivoted was I would have a consultation meeting with every client first, bring them to the office, sit down with them, engage with them, ask them questions. What do you need? Why do you need? Again, the why. I would share with them what value I will bring, my team would bring, how we would assist them. And my team, or I sell a lot of new construction home, which is you go to a sales office, right? The contract takes 6 to 8 months. So we act like liaisons between the buyers and the salesperson. So as a full commission realtor, I would go with them to all these appointments, design center, pre-construction meeting, hold their hand throughout the process. When the buyer says, I want half the commission, I say, I'm sorry, if you want half the commission, I can spend all this time with you. No, I want half your commission and full service. I would get up and say, you know what? We're not aligned. Please find somebody else. I can work with you. I would say that. I would tell them, I would rather sit at home and do nothing than to work with you. Now, that's the mindset I had 9-10 years back. And that mindset did not backfire at me. the same buyers would say, you know what, I respect you. I see a lot of value in it. I really want to work with you and your team. So demonstrating value to these clients, it's critical. If you don't demonstrate value, they will come after your commission. They will ask for a discount. But when you elevate your value, it becomes irrelevant. So I have a philosophy that cost is only a concern when there's lack of value. If you as a realtor, you're not demonstrating value effectively, you're going to be asked for your commissions. That's the biggest challenge I faced working with Indians initially.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And before we move on, I'm going to do a quick shout out. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to send it to us. We are taking live questions. And before we wrap up, we'd like to take all of your questions. So please go ahead and send it to us. Go ahead, Kunal.
Okay, what's the next slide? Okay, this actually is the last slide. Key takeaways. I talked about how do you win Indian clients. It's the circle of trust. Once you win their trust, you win their business, their friends' business, they become advocates for you. Religious beliefs that talk about Vastu compliance. It's extremely complex. You will never learn all about Vastu. Just understand that most buyers, when they come to America, when they want to buy a home, it's maybe their parents, in-laws, or priests back at home. And they tell them, when you buy a home, buy a Vastu compliant home. Most requested item on Vastu is the direction that the front door faces, not the home, but the front door faces. And that is east or north is considered positive. So be aware of Vastu compliant. Don't advocate for it. Ask them the question and whatever they want, then find a home. Cultural values, I talked about their risk averse, one-upsmanship, and group decision making. Buying habits, they're budget oriented. They love to negotiate and they're very informed buyers. So that's a summary for all the slides. The last slide I have after this is just Q&A. Stephanie, you can unshare the screen, and this is where if people have questions or anything that come up, I can engage and answer those.
Awesome. So while we wait for that, Kunal, this has been fantastic. Tell me more, like first generation mindset combined with your how to decode clients. And this is the value that you're providing to the market. And tell me your ask. What are you asking of them?
So before I mean, my ask over here is different, but my ask over the years when I travel nationwide to different cities, different states, I travel for real estate conferences, I train builder partners. When I'm training them, Smith, I'm adding value to them. And I truly believe one of my core principles to be successful is that you have to be known. If you're known, some will like you, some will dislike you. And the ones who like you, some will trust you to do business with you. So through my training, through my coaching, through my mentorship, through cultural training, I want to be more known. I want to be the subject matter expert that knows about the Indian culture and American culture really well. I've spent half my life in India, half my life over here. I met a lot of people who do cultural training, but they're not in the business. They don't deal with buyers and sellers on a daily basis. So my ask in the past has been in the local Houston market, when builders come to me, oh, Kunal, we heard about your cultural training. Can you train my sales team? I said, sure, I can train them. It's going to cost you $10,000. Or B, why don't you consider creating preferred business partnership with my team, with my organization, the Seth Brothers? Why don't you allow me to list some homes for you? Or why don't you allow my team members to do open houses for you? Again, so over the years, I would do this training for free. Now I charge a fee, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. And when these builders want that, I don't want to charge them money. I say, okay, if you want the training, why don't you give me something of value in return? Your listing, your business, your referrals. That's my ask in the local market. At a national level, when I go to Orlando, Tampa, Florida, wherever else I go, my ask is not to get business from them, but my ask is to be more known. So the more known I am through my first generation mindset, through my cultural training, the book that I'm writing, I want to be more known. And what return I'll get, what ask I'll get fulfilled, whether somebody says in a different market, I've done training at real estate conferences, oh, this guy came from Houston, Texas, and he's with EXP. Potentially that could lead to me recruiting someone into EXP or recruiting someone onto my team, or someone saying, I really want to work with this person as a realtor. So again, I don't worry about the ask a whole lot. I worry about how am I adding value to the market. Now for EXP, I bleed EXP. I love EXP. I've been here for the last 4 years. We are producing team, mega icon team. We do a lot of production, but if on an ongoing basis, I keep adding value to the EXP company, to other fellow realtors, would I be more known to the leadership team, to the brokers at EXP, and to other fellow realtors? Absolutely yes. What's fast? Maybe tomorrow, a realtor in different markets says, have somebody moving to Houston. Hey, call the Seth brothers, call Kunal. He can refer, they can refer clients to me. So I'm not worried about the ask right now. I'm focused, I'm committed, I'm dedicated to providing value today.
Love it. All right, we have one other question. What would be your advice to a brand new agent at EXP Realty?
So I'll give you maybe not one, but maybe a few pointers since we have a few more minutes left. This is beyond the cultural training, beyond working with Indian buyers. Most realtors think and act local. And when they're doing their own marketing, branding, they talk about where they are. So, for example, Houston is a big city, but Houston has a lot of suburbs. There is Katy, there is Woodlands, there is Sugarland, and a few other ones. I personally live south of Houston in Sugarland. Anytime I'm marketing a home, I do not say I'm at this home at so and so street in Sugarland. I never say that. I say I'm at this listing in the Houston market. Now it's a blessing. Houston was the first word spoken on the moon, right? Everyone knows about Houston. So if I were to say I'm at a home in Katy or Sugarland or Woodlands, most people would not know about it. So first, you got to think global. Do not talk about the suburb that you live in. Talk about the city or the state or the market that you're in. That's one. When, when you're marketing yourself, don't market yourself as a realtor. Market yourself as somebody who's an advisor, consultant, who helps people make the right financial decision in the real estate industry. When somebody asks you, what do you do for a living? Don't just say, I'm a realtor. Everyone in your market would be saying that. Share why you're a realtor, why you got in the business, what's your driver, what's your passion, why you got in the business. That why will get you more fulfillment from engagement with the client than just saying you're a realtor. So, I mean, I can go on and on, and there are a lot of tips. I mean, I train my team members, my market on a daily basis. So the list is long, what I can coach you on, but thinking bigger, getting your why clear as to why you are a realtor, that's critical.
Love it. Love it. This has been fantastic, Kunal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending time with us, sharing with us, giving us such valuable insights. And I really do hope that everybody who has joined us, who will be watching this in the future, I want you to really focus on the first generation mindset because I think it is a game changing mindset, which is, it seems incredibly simple, but it is very powerful when it's actually put into implementation. Any last words for us, Kunal? When is your book coming out? We're excited for it. And yeah, tell us more.
So book is in the final phase of editing. The cover I showed you early on this call today. But hopefully next 30 to 45 days, I'm gonna have the book launch. And that's the timeline. What I would say in the end is, you have something in you, that you've done something in your life, that you were the first one to do something. And something changed where you got lazy, you got complacent, you took things for granted. You got to reactivate your first generation mindset. Remember the time when you were the first one doing something. Or find someone around you, maybe your grandfather, maybe a family member, maybe a friend, maybe a co-worker, who's the first one doing something. Ask them about the struggles they are going through or went through, and how somebody after them got complacent, got lazy. You got to reactivate your first generation mindset, and you got to believe in having a strong vision in life, because without vision you are lost. You're going to be a goal driven person. You're going to make that commission, you're going to make that paycheck, and then go back to being lazy. You got to have clarity of your vision. And I help people on a regular basis. I challenge them, question them, ask them questions, and help them get clarity of their vision. Second, you got to lead by adding value. Think big, value to the industry, just like how Glenn is doing. Glenn is adding value to the real estate industry. Think big, or your local MLS, or your local market. Add value over there. And the last is your ask, which is the sale, the transaction, the buyer or the seller. You are leading today by having goals. You're leading today by your ask. Switch that over. Take a time out. Reactivate your first generation mindset and believe in the vision, value, ask. My tagline I use all the time, which I gotta say now, is boom shakalaka. It comes
Boom shakalaka,
when
yes.
I get on stages, when I do social media marketing, everything I do is boom shaka. Today has been boom shakalaka.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kunal. This has been fantastic. And we're going to sign off. This is Smita Singh. And thank you, Kunal, for being here with us.
Thanks a lot, Smita. Thank you very much.